This week, we have a certified hockey artist, a hockey creative, a trick shot icon. Catch this guy coming to a city near you. Always hockey with the one stars, Zac Bell.
This episode of One Star Recruits is brought to you by 500 Level. It's 500level.com for all the hockey greats out there, from young to old. DK, Patrick Kane, Connor Bedard, Sidney Crosby. They got them all with the cartoon shirts. All the best NHL shirts are on 500level.com. Get 20% off everything on the site at checkout with the discount code PODCAST. Let's go.
What's going on, guys? It's Zac Bell here from Always Hockey. I'm live with the One Star Recruits right now, having a great conversation. Come check it out.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the One Star Recruits podcast, hockey edition. The NHL playoff picture is starting to slowly show its face. And you know what? I'm not really much of a big-time hockey guy until the playoffs. And it's still in the playoffs, I'm not a big-time hockey guy, but I definitely make the shift. NHL playoffs in person in particular, 5 stars. 10 out of 10 experience, unbelievable. Hockey games in person, 3 stars, great experience, just regular season games. But the playoffs in the NHL is really great. So those are coming up. I'm really happy, Rip, to talk a little puck with Zac, with you. The listeners know, maybe you know, Rip, I played a little defense in my day. Oceanside Ice Arena, Tempe, Arizona. You know this location?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever stepped foot inside that building, but I know it's legendary where we grew up.
It's a bit legendary. Arizona, some people would say it's weird. Remind me, actually, I have a take on Arizona being a weird hockey place, because I kind of agree that it is weird. But Oceanside, our guy Matthews on the Maple Leafs also went to Oceanside Ice Arena. It breeds good hockey players, but I play defense there. I'll tell you what I remember, though, bro. By far, my standout memory, 25, 30 years later. Shit, 35 years later, actually. I started when I was 8 years old playing hockey, strapping up, lacing up the skates. Is unbelievable frozen pizzas, microwavable, mediocre nachos. I love the 3 to 4 arcade games that were placed in the corners of the snack bars at ice skating rinks. They were the best. You know what I'm talking about, Rip, right? Guess a couple of the games that you think I might be thinking of.
Based on when you grew up, I'm going to go Excite Bike, Double Dragon, and Mortal Kombat.
Oh, those are great games. I think those did exist too. I believe there was an Excite Bike. Maybe, possibly. That's a good one. That's a hidden one. Yeah, 1990s kid playing out there. Those would be, for me, let's see, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. Those were comic book store arcade games. Those were games that I went to my local comic book store to pick up Uncanny X-Men comic books and play a little Street Fighter 2. Dalsum was my character. The best character. You probably used who'd you use, Rip? You probably
I used the girl who would rip the heart out of the opponent, like literally take the heart and pull it out of their chest. That was my my 1-star Mortal Kombat experience.
Oh, you're talking Mortal Kombat. I'm talking Street Fighter 2, but yeah, Mortal Scorpion, great characters. Sub-Zero, and you use the female. Well done. What was her name? Kate? I think she had a basic name. Kate? There's no way her name was Karen. They weren't thinking that forward-minded. Anyway, those were comic book stores. Ice Skating Ring was a little bit more balanced games. 1942 was the video game I think they had. The Simpsons video game. You want to get your hands on the Simpsons video game. Skateboard with Homer. Tubin was a classic ice skating snack bar game while you eat that frozen pizza, which I had just the best cheese pull, I remember, for some reason. But maybe it was 6:30 in the morning that the pizza tasted that good. I was 8 years old. Who really knew? But
it sounds like your parents were spending money thinking you were playing hockey, but meanwhile you're sitting there eating nachos and playing Street Fighter.
Yeah, from that whole intro, it's really obvious that I was a really good hockey player, as you could tell.
1 star.
Very bad.
If I threw you out on ice skates right now in the middle of Rockefeller Center in New York, how long would it take before you fell down?
Well, that's one thing. Ice skating is like riding a bike a little bit. Tell me, ice skaters, if I'm wrong about this, but ice skating is something that you can pick up fairly quickly if you do know how to do it and still do it well. It's one of the ways I early dated my wife. It was one of the surprises that I had in me. I only got like 6 or 7 in me, bro. You know, it's not like I'm full of surprises. You know, I can do a kick flip, might be able to do a full cartwheel with a turn. I don't know what you call that anymore. Backflip on a trampoline I can pull off, maybe shock the world. Another one I have in my bag, ice skating. I'm a great backward skater. I played defense, played a little bit of roller hockey with our guy Seymour. Also, an Oceanside Ice Arena veteran, Clayton Moore of the state of Utah. And I have something for the state of Utah, Rip. Don't let me forget about that. Anyway, to answer your question, long-winded, yes. Yes, I am. I'm a great skater. If I hop on right now, you would think, wow, that guy maybe played minor league hockey, possibly, or figure skated. You think maybe he could do a double axel if you saw me skate at Rockefeller Center. So that's something I'm going to take with me. I haven't been on skates. I've lived in Hawaii for going on 4 years now. No ice here, obviously. So I don't know what I'd look at like at age 40, but I know at age 30, I was out there doing stuff. Rip, call me Patrick Waugh.
I don't believe for a second that you'd last more than 10 seconds before you fell down. I really don't think it's sort of like riding a bike. I've seen you do recent stuff like the Chris Paul challenge. I see you waddle around. I just don't believe that you could last in Rockefeller Center with all those professional ice skaters.
Those aren't professional. Those are normies out there. You're telling me, oh, you're thinking of more of a professional? Like, who knows? I could do it. We should do a kickflip challenge. And I'll strap up skates. I don't know what you're envisioning in your head, but I can do it. Rip. I can do it on ice skates. And Phoenix was not a great place for an ice rink. What a dumb place. Let me ask you this. This goes along with my Utah theory and hockey and this whole kind of concept. I think it's important for NHL teams in particular to be in the right environment. Does Phoenix really need a hockey team? It's 130 degrees there. Florida, Carolina. It's just not great for a hockey culture. You can't do a 365-day a year hockey culture in some of these cities, which brings me to Utah. I saw a tweet this morning, Rip, from the Salt Lake City King himself, Ryan Smith. You know Ryan Smith, the Utah Jazz owner, yeah?
Yeah.
He says this morning, this beautiful rendering. It looks amazing. Downtown Salt Lake. He says, downtown Salt Lake at the heart of Utah. Our efforts are about an arena. It's about revitalizing the downtown area that desperately needs an investment. Imagine a downtown experience like this with NBA, NHL, and MLB at its core. He didn't put MLB in it, but since the A's are such a mess, this is really something that's gotta connect. The triple threat of sports is open the door to the beautiful city of Salt Lake, Rip, and I think it's a wonderful landing spot. The A's have nowhere to go, right? Nowhere to go. The benefits of getting an MLB and an NHL team in Utah far outweigh any of the tax problems or any. You are starting to build a city. Rip, you would be much more inclined to move your family to Salt Lake City if they had 3 professional sports teams, right? Does that come into your thinking at all?
Not really. I know how beautiful Utah is with or without sports teams, but to me, it's more about the fan engagement and the support from the local community there. And the support for the Jazz has been incredible over the past 40 or so years that they've been there. And I think that an NHL franchise is the most logical next step. I think it would be perfect there. I mean, like you said, it's snowy, it's wintry, it's cold. There's a lot of passionate fans there, and I think they'd get behind those guys really quick.
We're on the same page. NHL hockey fans, if you're listening, Salt Lake City. Let's get an NHL team where it belongs in the Wasatch Mountains. An afternoon freshies at Powder Mountain. Then you swing down in your Range Rover to watch Keontae George throw lobs to Walker Kessler. And then you hit Slackwater Pizza in downtown SLC on your way home. What a picture I just painted. Let's make it happen, Rip. There's lots of opportunity in NHL right now. Our guy Zac Bell's taking another angle, an interesting angle. He's doing the content side of this, making hockey a little bit more relevant to the youth who live on YouTube.
Yeah, it's an interesting backstory. He had 6 or 7 concussions, head injuries, growing up as a hockey player in Canada. And so basically it ended his playing career and he pivoted. He's done what a lot of people from his generation have been doing now. You got Tristan Jass doing the basketball trick shots. You got the Hewlett brothers. There's so many of them, DK, that have built up a huge following on social media. And Zach has kind of made himself out to be the hockey trick shot guy, and it's blown up. He's got over 500,000 followers on Instagram. He's performing at the NHL All-Star break, at the All-Star game. He's all over the place, DK. If you're on social media, he's a must follow, and just an interesting story, a great kid, and doing this stuff for all the right reasons. And he works hard. That's one thing that people don't see about these influencers and content producers. These guys are working really hard.
This stuff's no joke. It's magic. He is a creator. He is an artist. Enjoy this interview with hockey ambassador Zac Bell.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of Muskoka, Ontario, an artist, a content creator, and the face of hockey on social media in 2024. Mr. Always Hockey, Zac Bell is on with the One Star Recruits. Hey, thanks for helping out with the One Star, Zac.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. Excited to get into the show.
Your story is one of perseverance for sure. While head injuries stopped you from playing competitively, you always seem to remain positive. What's some advice you'd give to young kids with big dreams in terms of never quitting on those dreams?
I think a big thing for me was just growing up, there's in a very political environment with hockey as well. You have a lot of opportunities taken away from you and things like that. So I feel like just sort of having lots of doors and opportunities closed in my face really sort of made me gravitate towards myself and really start believing in myself and in my own abilities. And sort of when I took that mindset and that approach towards what we do, you sort of get this feeling of you can be unstoppable. And as long as that core faith and belief in yourself, and I had such a great support team around me to always keep me focused and always telling me I'm doing these things right. What we're doing is positive, keep continuing on this path. And I think just when it sort of changed for us, when sort of developed tunnel vision in that sense, where you just sort of blocked out everything else. And I think that's sort of where having that good foundation of people around you and just really believing in yourself was sort of what helped me sort of block out all the other outside noise and just grind and focus until sort of the vision that we had for what we were doing and what we wanted our life to become just sort of started to become reality. So really my biggest piece of advice would be to believe in yourself, believe and love the people around you and your support team, and you can be unstoppable. You can achieve anything you put your mind to.
On that familial support, how was their response when you told them that this is what you were going to do?
See, that's funny. I love getting that question because, like, for me, there was never a doubt. A lot of people online say, especially when we released our documentary originally through Sportsnet, a lot of people were coming to me and asking, like, what was that like, the conversation with your parents, telling them you're not going to go to school, you're not going to do this, you're going to, make videos online in your driveway. But that never really was a conversation for me, just because my parents have always supported me in absolutely anything I do. And that's something maybe I've taken for granted now, just realizing that not everyone's blessed with parents like that. So just for me, that was never a conversation we had to have. It was always, my parents always wanted me to be doing videos. There was times when I was young and I wouldn't want to film. I wouldn't want to do it. My parents would be like, hey, like, you should take the net out, go shoot. Or, they were always pushing for me to do that because I think they were the first people to truly believe in me and see the impact that we've been having. Like, even when I was 12 years old and we'd have thousands of kids, coming from all over just to watch me play like a AA hockey game, which was like crazy, right? And my parents saw that from an adult perspective back then when I was still a kid and I didn't really know how to handle some of these situations. But yeah, so I think we never really had that conversation because my parents always knew and always believed in what I was meant to do. Essentially, they always knew that this was something I would, in one way or another, be pursuing as my full-time career. So I think just having my parents know and understand and believe in the vision that I had, even before I truly accepted and had that vision, they were just always the first people to support me and tell me what we're doing is right and to always push me to go outside and film more. So yeah, I never really had to have those tough conversations with them. It's always been, we just always known, and they've just always believed in me in every sense of the word. So
the strength of that belief is real, because if your parents, I believe, are in like my age bracket, and content creation wasn't even a thing when we were growing up. So there had to be some sort of thing where they're like, all right, this is actually can become a career for you. So like I said, the strength of that belief is real. If you believe in your children and you support them, you can support them through anything.
Exactly. Hockey's a really hard niche to be different. It's a very, old-headed, hard-nosed industry, especially. So prior to COVID, when I first started filming, I was about 12 years old. Always Hockey blew up to like 120,000 followers in like a year, which is substantial for 2013, 2014 in the hockey community, which is already so small, as we all know. So I think that was really hard to be an outlier. There weren't even professional athletes posting videos of them training or anything like this, right? This was so new. So here you go, just some kid who's just playing minor hockey, who's just like posting these crazy videos and stuff. And that comes with more hate than it came with acceptance. But since we've been, pursuing that and sort of changing the way that it's viewed, and as social media has, changed since COVID, and the whole way the whole world, the hockey industry has changed and shifted from a business perspective too, and from in-house to online branding and social media, just how it's all transitioned was was I feel like hockey needed someone to put themselves out there to sort of make change and force change within our industry. And as soon as we started taking videos outside of hockey, like collaborating with golf guys, football players, basketball players, doing stuff like that was where we really started to see the push, and we sort of had hockey get behind us. We sort of had to force the people to be like, okay, you know what? The millions of people outside of hockey who'd never see a hockey game or never see snow are now, hitting me up saying, hey, where can I buy a hockey stick? Where can I get synthetic ice tiles? Like, I want to start shooting. I want to get my kid a stick. All these different things where it's just sort of we've positioned ourselves outside of the game as just like a port to bring eyes in, to bring people in, to bring new demographics into the game, just to see a different side of the game too. Like, we got so many people now who follow me just to follow what I do and my unique ability rather than people who watch hockey. Because hockey's so small, we really had to push and position ourselves outside of the game to really start bringing people in. And now we've gotten a lot more support from everyone within the hockey community. And, like a lot of these young kids who watched me growing up when they were 12, they're now going to the NHL. They're now doing all these things. And we have some of those pinch me moments, we're at All-Star and one of the guys will come up and he's like, hey, man, you won't believe it, but been watching you since I was 12 years old, like flipping pucks in the driveway. And now they're going to the NHL and stuff, right? So like just all these full circle moments and how much we worked in the younger years to really start to change the way the hockey community views this social platform. I think that was just huge, and now we're starting to see the benefit of that. And there's so many people who love and support what we do now and think it's good for the game from top to bottom. So it's very amazing, and we're just so happy to see where the hockey industry and the hockey niche itself has come and how far it's came in the last. Gosh, I guess I've been doing this for a long time now, so the last 9-10 years here. But no, it's awesome, man. In every sense of the word, it's nice. We get lots of love.
Awesome. You're pretty much always at the rink shooting video or at your house shooting video. It's obviously not your typical 9 to 5 desk job. So what's the daily schedule look like for the life of a content creator like yourself?
Oh gosh, it's changed and adapted with the success of the brand and everything. Definitely, there's a lot more. It first started out with me just dreaming of video ideas, and then I'd wake up and I'd film until I had that one vision done. And then as soon as I had that video done, if I needed to relax or whatever, then I would. But I had to post every day. I had to hit an idea every day, or else I didn't feel like I was doing anything right. Like you said, it's not a typical 9 to 5. You can't really gauge your success on anything as well. Like, things change very quickly in this new industry, right? So now there's a lot more business things, right? And interviews and things like to promote the brand and what we're doing. And a lot more people are interested. But back then, the typical 9 to 5 was wake up as early as I could before the sun was up, envision the videos if I didn't already dream the video, and then just record all day, whatever I could do. I used to sleep on TikTok live. I would do anything I possibly could to just promote the brand and what I do. Because at that time we had so many different things going on in my personal life with my family. It was a rock bottom moment for me. And also going through an identity crisis through my hockey injuries and everything that comes with being taken out of that system of being a junior hockey player. I did that my whole life. It's all I ever knew. So being taken out of that system, and then my mom also getting cancer at the same time COVID was happening as well. There was a lot of different things going on in my personal life. So always hockey was just that escape. It was just the void. I had this void to fill, and always hockey was there for me to do so. So post injury, it was as soon as I could start getting out of the dark room and walking around outside for 10, 20 minutes, I'd just start filming again, just like I did when I was a kid. It was just sort of instinctual. And we kept filming through the recovery process. And then when I finally got healthy enough to start like playing and practicing again, the world shut down. And then my mom got sick. So it was like, okay, well, let's keep doing the videos. I have nothing else I can do. My brain's broken, didn't plan on going to school this year, like all these things, or I'm not going to finish out my junior career. Like all these dreams and things I had were just thrown out the window in a matter of 20 hours. So it was like, sort of had to reinvent myself and what I wanted to do, and truly sat down to see what brings me joy. And this was what brought me joy. So that was every day waking up, doing anything I could. I'd come home, my hands would be bleeding. I'd be cut up. I'd be bruised up because I'd just be spinning a stick, doing one 15-second routine for 8 hours straight or whatever it may be. Or if we already filmed the video, then I'd sit out there and I'd just shoot pucks for hours and just go on live and talk to people and see how people's days are going, do tricks for people, do tutorials for people, go live with kids. There was a time in COVID where a big thing for us was I would go live and I would tell kids to go outside and set their phone up, and then I would go live with them. So we'd play like bars, or we do like game of pig with the stick, and we just do this live for kids because everybody was at home stuck in their driveway, right? So it was just sort of, and it wasn't just like kids doing it at that point. It changed. It became, there's no sports, there's no acting, there's no movies, there's no anything. Like the whole entertainment world was shut down. So all of a sudden, then we had this opportunity. We had like mainstream platforms coming to us and saying, hey, like, we need you to create a video for this, for that. Like, we love to share it here, put you there. And it was like, yeah, like, this is my life. This is gung ho. We'll do everything we possibly can to get the message out and show people our videos. And that sort of opened up a different lane for us to sort of be viewed as, like I said before, more of like a mainstream trick shot ability type person rather than just a hockey player. And once we sort of could merge those as well, I think that's when hockey community really started to get behind us because, like I said, the change started to happen and we sort of merged the abilities it took to be a hockey player and also the knowledge and skill it took to be this entertainment performance aspect that we use on social, right? So there was just a lot of components that came together and it was sort of meant to be. And this is my journey.
So the Always Hockey brand is something you've been building for almost 10 years now. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs when it comes to brand building?
For me, the big one was when I changed the brand really from Always Hockey to Zac Bell. So like we really focused on promoting Zac Bell, promoting my personal name, my image, because Always Hockey is going to live forever. It'll live forever under its umbrella, right? The video is everything. They get constantly shared every day across the world. Videos I did years ago, right? So those are just something we keep. And once I started branding myself, it allowed me to start to do some of the things I really wanted to do. Like we just finished a movie that just came out yesterday on Prime Video as well called The Late Game. So we got to do some acting. I did a bunch of TV commercials. You know, we did a lot of different things just based off how I've promoted my name and my image rather than promoting the Always Hockey brand as well. So I think that's something that some people should keep in mind when you're building a brand, especially if it's a personalized ability or something that you do that provides value to social. I think really branding my name was one of the big switches that really brought us a lot of opportunities to sort of branch out of the game and grow what we do, and everything funnels through what we do back into Always Hockey, into the hockey community. So that's sort of one of the approaches we took to sort of start taking ourselves mainstream and start working with bigger brands and bigger people.
That's great advice because actually when I think of it, it seems simple, but when I think of it, like all the trick shot artists across sports that I know from social media, I know their names. It's not just the other brand, but I know their names. So that's huge, I think. And I want to you mentioned a little bit ago about collabs and collaborations with some of those other guys. We're the 1 star, so I got to stay true to the brand. I was thinking last night, I got some 1 star trick shot ideas. I know you practice this all the time. You're out there 8 hours a day, but this is just what came from our brains. So I want to just collabs, actually. I want to talk about 1 star trick shot ideas with collabs. So, and you can rate these, man. Let's use a 1 to 5 star scale. One's pathetic
Right.
and 5 is 5 stars. So I got 3 of them for you.
Be honest, be honest.
All right, all right. 1 to
We
5 on them. Okay.
1 to 5. We actually had Mac McClung on this podcast, who's now the back-to-back NBA dunk contest winner. We had him on a couple years ago, and he was an awesome guest. He won last month by jumping over Shaquille O'Neal, who's 7'2". Everybody saw it on TV there. So my 1 star idea for you is, how about jumping over Matt Rempe, our guy from the Rangers, who's I think 6'7", slapping a puck off the top of his head into the net. Do you think you're up for that?
I would give that one a 5. Absolutely. Get a little we could put a little thing out there and like Red Bull crashed ice. I'd skate, jump right over him. That would be sweet.
He might, if you don't clear him though, he might be down to fight you. So you got to be careful about that.
That's all right. Hey, I'll take a few. That's fine. I'll happily eat a couple to the dome. That's okay. But
all right, so,
that's awesome, man. I love that idea. You guys are cooking over here. Hey, maybe you guys got a future in this business, eh?
hey, it's only going to go downhill from there. Don't get too excited.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, everyone knows the Zamboni. It's an icon on the ice, but not many people know the top speed, I think, is about 10 miles an hour for a Zamboni. So not too fast, but how about jumping on a moving Zamboni and firing a slap shot into the net from the moving Zamboni? Have you ever done that one?
I have not done that one. Like, am I driving the Zamboni or am I on top of the Zamboni?
Depends how much you practice, I guess. So you can
Doing
probably do
both.
all of it.
Driving and shooting, eh?
That was
I like that one. That I will give that one a 3.
not bad.
I could definitely take your ideas and toy with them a little bit. So if you see a few of these on the page, you know where they came from.
All right, all right. Yeah, we won't charge you any royalties or anything. Last one here. Tristan Jass is a big basketball trick shot guy I see on YouTube with Jesser, some of those guys. Those guys, he loves to go. He's known for kind of going way up in the rafters at an arena and bouncing the basketball from high up and somehow getting it in the net. Have you ever scored a goal from, like, let's say the 500 level at a hockey arena, or how far could you actually shoot a puck from?
Yeah, we were with the Anaheim Ducks about 6, 7 months ago now. We did a week with the Ducks out in Anaheim, and we were just sitting down on the ice, and a few of the Ducks guys back in the day, Ryan Getzlav and I think Corey Perry, when the Ducks won the cup, they did a skill shoot with them, and they took them up to the top of the rink to shoot into the nets. And I remember watching that video when I was a kid, and I hadn't done it since. So I asked them while we were there, and they're like, "Yeah." So they took us up, and I think I hit the net on like the third shot, which is
Oh, damn.
it's a lot easier than it is to do a basketball like T Jazz is doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. No, we've done those ones. Yeah, I hit it in a couple shots. It's not the most difficult one to do, to be quite frank with you. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That's a good 5 for me as well. Those are always.
Okay.
Speak for yourself. I can't hit a net from the 500 level.
I was gonna say we've actually done it with basketballs though. I've done full court shots with the hockey stick with the basketball and sunk a full court shot. So we've done those. But yeah, definitely a 5 for me. That was a good one. Touching on that, a video you will see on the page is we are gonna do that same video from the top rafters. But you know when they do the at intermission at a hockey game, they'll bring a celebrity out to try to shoot the puck into the little hole in the middle to win like a car or a prize or whatever. Have you
Uh-huh.
guys seen that during
Yeah.
intermission?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it, but with that in the net. So we'll hit the tiny
Ooh.
little hole that's just that big for the puck, but we'll do it from the rafters.
Damn. Breaking
That's the
news
video
here on One
I
Star
didn't want to
Recruits.
break the video, but that's a video we'll be doing.
All right, listeners, get ready for that on Always Hockey social media. All right, we had some fun with the collabs. We end every interview with the segment. We actually have a segment called 1 Star to 5 Star. Everyone knows we're the 1 stars. We're trying to get better with advice and tips from guys like yourself that are on the pod. So just a few more here, and these will kind of go all over the place. But again, the same 1 to 5 star scale here. Clay mentioned you've blown up over the past few years on social media, that the followers are just getting more and more. And I'm curious though, you talked about some of those pinch me moments. Who's actually the 5 star person that followed you that really made you sit back and be like, damn, like this is pretty awesome. I made it.
There's so many of those moments, man, to be honest with you. One
Like,
that'll always stick out for me would probably be the Trevor Zegras stuff when we did it All Star. So it was first time really getting out of Canada during COVID. It was very tough during that time in Canada. So we were fortunate enough to get out. We ended up going to our NHL All Stars. So we're NHL All Stars in 2021 in Vegas, and that was just an incredible experience. The league treated us to the same amenities, same schedules, everything as the All Stars. Got treated the same way. Got to go out to the fountains at Bellagio and shoot and do the whole test run for the whole thing, and we even got to go on the ice. And so Vegas NHL, let's take a step back. So Vegas NHL shootout event was like a big production. It was a big like theatrical performance essentially. Everybody had their own like different play on what their move was going to be. Like Jack Hughes did like, skated around the magic box and tapped it, and then his little brother came out, so it was like he shrunk and went back in time. So like they did all these little cool plays. And the one they did for Trevor Zegras is they really wanted to show his abilities and his skill, right? And so they just literally just put me on the ice with him. We went out there and I started chatting with him. He knows me, he knows what we do, he watches, he follows us on Instagram, right? All the good stuff. So he literally came up and he's like, Belzy, I need a move. Like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do for this move tomorrow. And I'm like, well, let's break it down and see what you can do, and then we'll work from there. So I gave him my stick with a little bit of a pad on it so he could like grip the puck better. And we just went through this one move, did the move, and he was like, that's it. Like, that's the one. So next night, we go out there, we're watching him. He pulls off the move perfectly. It goes viral. It blows up. It's like the most watched hockey video of the year. Like, all these things happen. And it was just so amazing because for me, that was the real pinch me moment, because I always dreamed of shooting in the NHL skills competition. Like, that was my favorite thing to watch growing up. Religiously watched it, watched them over on YouTube after they were done. Like, it was just something I always like obsessed about essentially. So when we finally got the opportunity to get down there and he pulled that shot off that we created, it just felt like I got to shoot in a sense. And it was just a really nice pinch me moment. It was the first time we sort of got to see the impact of what we created, because everything we did was really during COVID was just behind closed doors, just in my backyard at the local like skate park, that's all it was. And then we got out, we're treated all these amenities and get to see the stardom of being an NHL All-Star and get to meet all your idols, and half of them know who you are and all they're doing is giving you their flowers the whole time. Like it was just, yeah, it was a pinch me moment the entire week we were there, and it's still a pinch me moment till now. But yeah, that was the craziest experience so far. I think just personally, that one meant a lot to me, to be able to feel like you were part of it and like you did take that shot. I know we didn't get to physically take the shot. That'll be one day, but that was so far was a really nice pinch me moment for me.
That's such a cool story. I love hearing that. Dream come true. Also, who going along those lines, who's the, let's say, the most famous 5-star in your cell phone contacts? Is it Trevor? You got who you got for us in your cell phone contacts?
I don't know if I'm
You don't have to give us you don't have to give us their number. Just tell us who it is.
we'll throw Johnny Manziel out there. We are just
Oh, all
hanging with
right.
those boys out in Arizona last week. They're all great. Skis, Charlie on a Friday, Johnny Manziel, Bob does sports, Fat Perez. They're all great guys. We were out hanging with them last week. So we'll throw Johnny in there because I always it's funny too. I watched the documentary they post on Johnny like last year that came out on Netflix, and we are watching it, and I was like, man, like there's just so many synchronicities between how this guy lives and just like the things he's been through in a certain aspect, and you just felt connected to that individual. And the next thing you know, like, through a mutual friend, they're buddies, and then he's, you're just hanging out, golfing, chilling. So it was just he's a good one to have, and there's a lot of good guys out there that we've been able to meet this year. So just tying it back to Arizona for you there,
I love that full circle. All
eh?
right, big Arizona guys here. We got two more for you. Being a content creator seems awesome. That story you told about Vegas just now gave me the chills, the freedom, the creativity, all the stuff that you're doing on a daily basis. But I also know there's some 1-star things that come along with it. And I want to know from your opinion, what is the most 1-star thing about your day-to-day being a content creator? Is it the spam DMs? Is it the negative comments? What's the part that actually sucks to you about what you do?
I don't think I could really say anything anymore. Like the things that did suck that originally drove me to quitting social media ultimately. I don't react and feel the same ways about those anymore. I'm 23 years old now. I'm not 12. I can understand these things. I understand how the way the world works. And if someone's got to comment something negative, then I just hope I can make their day better. They're obviously in a different position than I am. And if they're commenting something like that, then I know, hopefully I can take some of that pain away from you. That's just sort of how I view these things now, and just retransfer that energy into things that are better, and just really try to inspire people with things that are good and genuine. And that's something that we really like to keep dear now, is that there's, with this new explosion of social media, everyone's on social media. There's so much here trying to grab your attention, and there's also so much fake that comes with that, and just people who are out there for the wrong reasons. So I think something that we really pride ourselves on is just being genuine. This is my life. This is what we create. What you see on my page isn't faked. It's not edited. It's exactly what we do. And it's just the vision I like to share. And that's going to live on long after I'm gone. So I just like to look at my page, and everything we've created is just sort of my artwork and my journey. So that's sort of it. And I things that suck, I really don't think there is anything that sucks anymore, to be quite honest with you guys. I'm blessed. I love my life, and this is exactly what I always wished and envisioned my life would be. So I'm at a really good place, guys. I don't think there's anything that sucks about it.
That's a 5-star answer. You're battle tested. I think the experience is what it's all about. And over the years, it's been a whirlwind. Let's take it back to your hometown real quick. Born and raised in Northern Ontario, very close to Lake Huron. Let's shout out a small business up there. If we're ever up in Muskoka, we find ourselves there. What's the best food in town? Let's say the 5-star restaurant in Muskoka to you that you're always having to hit when you're home.
I hit so I'm a gluten-free guy. I got celiac disease now, so my diet's a huge part of every day, like our day to day, especially when we're traveling on the road. It plays a big role. So for me, I like hitting this little place called Relish Kitchen in Gravenhurst, and then we like Fresh Cuts in Bracebridge as well. Those are two good spots. Great gluten-free buns, great homemade food. It's right up my alley. I'm a big chicken salad guy, so.
Hey, we're big stomach problem guys too, so shout out to Relish.
Hate to
Yeah,
hear it, but
team stomach issues here. Hey, everyone, go follow Zac on social media. It's always hockey everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You know where to find him. Hey, man, thanks for being such a great ambassador for the sport of hockey and really spreading your love for the game around to others. Because I could tell in the last 20 minutes how much love you have for hockey just meeting you here. We look forward to following you and continuing your journey over the years ahead. And thank you again for coming on with the One Stars, man.
of course, man. Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome. I know I rambled through a lot of that, but I'm just so passionate. I hope you guys caught it.
Thanks, brother.
Of course, thanks, boys. Appreciate you, Zay.
You know, Rip, another guy who's been taking the internet by storm for a different reason other than his skill sets. This guy, Matt Rempe, he's a big boy, bro. And he's kind of the different side of hockey, which I think is more interesting. I'm always in tune to watch on Sports Center. It's very rare, unless you're at a live game, that you catch a fight. I think a lot of times they pull the cameras from it. But this dude himself, Big Matt, is 6'7". He's 241. Youngster, born. It's crazy seeing Canadians born in 2002. It's a little crazy that they're already up in the league, but he's playing for the Rangers and he's come out really strong. He's taken over a social, like I said, for a different reason. At 21 years old, he's kicking ass. He's literally kicking guys' asses every night. He's fighting every night. That's kind of his thing. He comes in there, plays a little defense, and then fights the hardest fighter on the other team. You like fighting in hockey, Rip? Is it played out for you? Does it capture your interest at all? You're a father now. Violence probably hits you a little differently.
It hits me differently, but it's still interesting. I mean, I think the most thing when my kids start watching hockey is I'm going to be prepared for those questions. Why are these guys fighting and why is nobody stopping it? And I don't know if I really have answers for those. Those are the kind of things where you just say, hey, it's part of the sport. It's an exciting part of the sport, but you might get your ass kicked.
Straight up, dude. And he delivers. It's great entertainment. Beat this guy's ass on Columbus, and this guy Nicolas on Philadelphia. He's taken on the strongest other goons on the team. So it's a good mixture. The Rangers are also good. I think in hockey, and hockey fans can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's just very important. There's some guys that I can think of from past who played key roles in at least good runs, and the Rangers are good. They're head of their division. Like I said, moving into the playoffs, you bring in a physical presence or an intimidation factor, a guy might think twice about going after your star player. Austin Matthews, might think twice if he's going to get in and have to deal with a beast like Big Matt. There's a couple other guys out there, man. This guy Ryan Reeves on Toronto, the Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes. He's now a podcaster over at Barstool. He's so good. But Biz Nasty, Paul Bissonnette used to kick ass, dude, in those really great Phoenix Coyote jerseys. The ones they used to do that were kind of reddish, super cool look. Ty Domi, big ass kicker. He used to fight a lot of these dudes. I remember him fighting this dude, Rob Ray, on the Buffalo Sabres. Another great sweater, all-time great hockey sweater. It's another great thing about hockey. Going into the pro shop at the ice skating arena, because you got to get your skates sharpened, or maybe you got to get a new stick. You broke your stick. All the jerseys. It was like walking into the Foot Locker, in the 1990s and looking up and just the authentic jerseys, which you couldn't even ever afford. But maybe once a year around Christmas time, get yourself a Minnesota North Stars jersey, maybe a Calgary Flames jersey. You know it, Rip. All that stuff. Maybe you go throwback. Maybe there's a throwback somebody gets you as a gift. They get you a little bit of a Pat Verbeek. His nickname was Little Ball of Hate. Another great fighter, but he was that Hartford Whalers jersey. Phenomenal jersey.
The white whale of jerseys. Speaking of that Arizona hockey scene, DK Winston, our statistician just in, Oceanside Ice Arena, RIP, actually closed on March 31st, 2023. Arizona State built a beautiful new facility called Mullet Arena on campus in Tempe. And it sounds like with all the issues that Oceanside had in terms of repairs and multi-million-dollar expenses, everything kind of moved over to this Mullet Arena on campus at Arizona State. So it's no longer, DK. It's I know it's a huge part of your childhood. RIP to Oceanside Ice Arena.
Breaking news. Yeah, it is. It is. I still drive by. Like I said, though, not a great place. I'm sure they built other rings. Arizona's growing like crazy, but I used to go in the back and watch this old, gross kind of ice and think in the summer times and think this is a crazy place to have an ice skating ring. God bless it, though. I'm going to be out in Arizona. I'm doing a quick trip this weekend to Arizona to go do a family check-in. It's about a 6-hour flight here from Hawaii. So I'm doing a 4-day extended stay. I'm excited. gonna get a little Mexican food rip. Might do my spot Ted's hot dogs. Not gonna drive by Oceanside Ice Arena, a little bit further north. Probably not gonna strap on any skates in Arizona. I'm gonna be doing some lemon picking. That's how I'm gonna be spending my time. Anything that I must do. It's spring training. You think it's must do hit a spring training game?
Nah, I mean, if 4 days is probably too short of a trip for that. I think if you're there a week, you do that. But my must do always in AZ is go get yourself some Serranos, Mexican food, and grab that bean dip that they give you right when you get in. Dip those chips in. Serranos, man, can't be beat. I don't even Rip Serrano. I might have to take this part out. Is Serrano's even there?
You gotta fact check it. I think you're showing your age. I think it's gone now. I think they built a Dutch Brothers. To
No,
be honest, bro, I think you're completely off. But I like it that your brain goes to Bean Dip from 1990s. This is a 1990s episode. You already said Excite Bike.
no, just so you know, there's Serrano's has 5 locations in Arizona: Chandler, Tempe, Queen Creek. So it's still there, buddy.
Well, I'll be out there. I might play a little golf down in Apache Junction, AJ, with my guy Jason. We'll see. I don't know how much time I'll have. I'm gonna try to see my mom down in Tucson. Maybe meet her halfway. Maybe double down at Apache Junction. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth in a hockey episode, but who knows? I'm looking forward to it. So I'll recap that next week. One star moments, man. We all do them. One star things that happen to us. Go ahead, Rip.
Man, we've been getting a lot of rain out here in Southern California lately over the past couple months. January, February is the quote unquote rainy season out here. You know, we get a half an inch some days we get a quarter of an inch. But last Tuesday, I went to pick up my kids from school. It had just stopped raining for pretty much the whole day. The roads were wet. There were puddles in the gutters. So I picked them up. I dropped them off at their after care. I'm walking home. It's about a 10-minute walk from there. So I'm just walking down the street, not a super busy street, but enough cars on it to have some action. And so I get up to the stoplight and I feel this car coming, or I'm right on the sidewalk. I feel this car coming up behind me and I'm not thinking of it because the light's red. I'm not going to cross yet until it turns green. And soon enough, right as you know it, the car goes through a huge puddle, making a right turn, splash all over my back, up and down my head, shirt, pants, totally soaked. The car just takes off. I didn't run after. I didn't know what to do for like 2 seconds, but then I like threw my hands up, like what the hell's going on? And I saw the back of the guy's head. He wasn't stopping. I don't know if he did it on purpose. I'd like to think he didn't, but I walked home the rest of the 5 minutes just totally soaked and had to throw my clothes in the dryer. Just a mean person out there, DK.
Sad. That's 100 points on the street. That guy collected 100 points for getting you, and then another additional 50 points for getting you to do the sad walk. We live in GTA, Rip. You were part of a prank, possibly.
Well, he was by himself, so possibly a serial killer or just sick human being. But it might have been fun.
As a cartoon, when that actually does really happen to you, you're telling me full shoulder. Were there any other witnesses?
There were cars stopped at the stoplight, so I'm sure they all saw. They probably got a laugh out of it. These
They get a laugh. You felt laughs. You could feel laughs when it's at you, not with you. Could you feel them at the intersection?
Oh yeah, there were definitely people that saw it and just.
Would you have laughed at yourself?
20 years ago, yes, and I probably actually did that a few times on purpose or not on purpose, but maybe it was karma coming back at me 20 years later, but it could be worse, but it just kind of sucked for that 10
At
minutes.
least you don't have your sons with you and your dad explain why he has gutter filth on his shoulder.
Yeah, you don't want to see your kids have your kids see you become the victim of something like that.
Well, that is extremely embarrassing. Why? I mean, shame on you for putting yourself as a 42-year-old man in a puddle situation.
It happens. I'm trying to get my steps in. I don't want to drive everywhere, so I get the
Take 3 steps back. Awareness levels at a 0 for your Mortal Kombat video game character. Awareness 0.
My reaction time's not what it used to be. What can I say? I'm 40. I'm a man.
I watched you pitch a curveball to your son when you had a game winner. You look like Nolan Ryan out there. You're just fine, Rip.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What was your 1-star moment last week?
I took a Q-tip to my earbuds, my Apple earbuds, which I haven't done in a while. Holy shit. People got to look and clean those things out once a week. This is a lesson to me. I was going on about 4 months, and the hairy wax that I scooped out of those bad boys with a Q-tip is my 1-star moment. 2 locations. First location, the sound and outry part. Little black screen that faces towards your drum of your ear. Give it a scoop. I know, Rip, look at yours right now. You'll be embarrassed with yourself. I know you're going past a week. You're definitely in the months range.
Oh, I know. I see it all the time. I try to wipe it out with a tissue or a napkin. Yeah, it builds up in there, man. It's very 1 star,
A
but
tissue or
everyone does it.
napkin might just be like smearing, like you're trying to clean a wet carrot off a rug. You might just be pushing it in more. I think the Q-tip, you need the push-pull action of the push-pull to get some of the grime. I'm not an expert, but I'm now a weekly believer. I can't believe that I was just putting those giblets in my ears. Like it's like putting milk chocolate in my ears every morning.
It's a natural part of the body's functions, DK, and I think everyone goes through it. So it is very 1 star and it's very disgusting, but it's something everyone can relate to. What's your recommendation of the week this week? You got something good for us?
No, no, not at all. It's very basic, honestly embarrassing as I went through my heads. Now you go through it every week too, going day by day, trying to piece your 1 star moment of the week together. I know it's not something you're pulling that easily, okay, Rip? You got to dig for it. Small wins. Call this one trash can calisthenics. Do you have any interest in hearing more? Do you just want to hear the title and we can move on? It's totally
Trash
okay.
can calisthenics. Let's hear it. We got time. Let's hear it.
We all take the trash out. Average trash can run for me, it's a little bit more. It might be about a quarter mile there and back. It's fairly significant. Most people put it in the truck, drive to the trash can. Some people, like Europe, might be 20 feet. TCC still works. Trash can calisthenics still works for you as it works for me. You just got to take a little bit more time. Take the trash bag. You got a small shoulder. You shoulder press both arms, but I don't do the whole actions. I just hold it out, right hand all the way extended, walk 20 steps. Go to my left hand, 20 steps, fully extended. Then bring it forward, 20 steps, and then curl it all the way home, switching arms 20 at a time. Do that for 5 minutes, Rip. Full on shoulder pop, trash can calisthenics, steal 5 minutes, get a pump. If you're not lifting weights, it just gets you a little one. We're talking max. If you got more than 12 pounds of trash in your trash can, that's problematic anyway. You shouldn't have that much weight. So it's an entry level weight to get a little mini pump. Feel good about yourself. Onward.
You're living on this remote farm out there in Hawaii with all these cows and emus and no security cameras because all these wrecks of the week you tell us you're picking up cow poop and doing trash can calisthenics. I wish we had video footage of this. It would be great content for our social media.
I wish somebody would film my actions throughout the day in those regards because holy shit, it is. I wonder if somebody might see me someday and think that I'm a lunatic doing trash can calisthenics, TCC. But I don't, Rip, you heard it. You heard it. It's in your brain. I know you don't walk to a trash can, but you walk 15 feet out to your trash area. It's going to go through your bald head that maybe I'm just going to hold this thing in my right shoulder for 20 seconds and see how it feels.
I'm not doing it. All my neighbors have Ring cameras. I'd probably be on next door by in the next
And once you
24
do the right
hours.
arm, you got to do the left arm and then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, not happening, DK. I'll tell you something that I'll put in the trash can for you though is my wreck of the week. It's these Haagen-Dazs. My wife actually found these. They're amazing. They're Haagen-Dazs like ice cream bars. The ice cream in the center of the bar is dulce de leche churro ice cream, which is an amazing taste. And the outer shell of chocolate is this crunch. Here, I'm going to share it on my screen right now just so you get the visual of this. And you see this, DK? Haagen-Dazs dulce de leche churro. See that smooth inside with the topping and the filling of dulce de leche churro ice cream,
Yeah, it
and it's
looks like
surrounded by that crunchy
it looks like
shell.
it looks like a sandal a little bit though, is a problem.
It's amazing. They're hard to find. I'll tell you that much. You can DoorDash them probably. I don't know about where you're at in Hawaii. I found them at CVS actually, $5.99 for 3 of them. If you want high quality, you got to pay a high price. It's Haagen-Dazs dulce de leche churro ice cream bars. DK, if you find one on the island, buy it no matter the price. I'm telling you, these things you won't regret it.
When you crack those after the kids go to sleep, you guys both have one?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it to about once a week now though, because these things are obviously not healthy for you. And I do, but me and my wife battle over them. There's 3 in a box, so it's always we each get one, and who gets that third one? So yeah, it's a little odd number. I wish they had 4 in a box. It would make life a lot easier.
They do that, so you have to buy 2 boxes to get to the 6, Rip, and that's why they do a lot of 2-for-1 deals with the Haagen-Dazs. I also think Haagen-Dazs is great. Fun fact, a lot of people in hospice, when they stop eating food, human beings, still love eating ice cream bars. Haagen-Dazs, #1 draft pick.
That is a random 1-star fact, but I'm looking forward to those days now.
Rips reacts, hit the music. Cam Newton dragged into a brawl at a 7-on-7 youth football event. What is the closest you've been to being in a youth sports fight, Rip, or witnessing?
I'm a competitor, so I get heated in some of these little league games, but it's never come close to a fight. I mean, I'm not going to be that parent that gets involved no matter what. It would take an act of self-defense for sure for me to get involved. So I'm not going to lie, I haven't been close, and I hope I never get close. But yeah, Cam Newton, people hate that guy for some reason. It's always stuff happening to him at these camps. He might want to cancel those from his schedule.
Go a little deeper in that story. He was the instigator, and he's kind of been a dick around that whole thing for a handful of years prior. So it doesn't sound like it's a new beef, and it sounds like Cam Newton is. Rip, you're right. A little bit of you're not the king, Cam. You got to still be respectful out there, even though you might be paying for stuff. But I don't know. I don't know the whole story, Rip. Darvin Ham recently blasted NBA officials. Monty Williams recently blasted NBA officials. NBA officiating seems like it is getting worse. Computers, 2027, making calls in NBA games. True or false?
I think it's true. I think there's enough backlash these past few weeks and months and years that it's going to come down to that at some point. I don't know the exact formula for it, but if they can figure it out, then I think it's probably going to work because it'll be way more accurate than what some of these actual human beings are doing right now.
The United States women's national soccer team fell to Mexico for the first time since 2010. Rip, we all know that you went down and built a house in Mexico recently. 2 things that Mexico does better than the United States. Go.
I did not build a house in Mexico, but 2 things Mexico does better than the U.S. Number 1, for sure, is selling things on the beach at bargains, at discounted prices and attractive prices. You go down to Rosarita or anywhere along that stretch of Baja California, you're going to get some great deals on food, on jewelry, on whatever. If you're walking on the sand, there's tons of vendors. You might get the runs a few hours later, but you're going to get it for a good price.
That's pretty good. Number 2.
And number 2, I think, is at this point, it's shipping their items to the rest of the world. I read the other day that 2023, the U.S. imported more items from Mexico than from China, and for the first time in a long time. So whoever's running the trade for Mexico is doing a great job right now, and they're building stuff and shipping it out to the U.S. and other countries. So that's another thing I'd have to say right now.
And damn, the Economist, and the guy with the runs. You wear both masks, Rip. You wear both masks, my friend. You also seem to have booked some very early guest interviews for the next couple of weeks. So thank you for that. Looks like I got a 5 a.m. and a 7 a.m. are coming up. Rip, I don't think at this day and age, let me ask you this, Rips Reacts, is it ever okay to have a 8 a.m. meeting?
I think it has to be with all these time zones and the global economy. We got you in Hawaii, me in California. A lot of our guests are on the East Coast. Possibly some international guests coming up soon from Australia. DK, we might be doing an interview in the middle of the night. It's a worldwide thing out there. Especially when you're a 1-star, you're gonna wake up at all hours to do interviews. So I think it is okay.
You got me moving, man. I'll be on Arizona. A little contact. Any 1-stars out in Arizona who want to connect for a quesadilla at Filiberto's, or get a iced cafe mocha at Coffee Plantation, or want to go to the comic book store and play Tekken 2. I'm available to hang out. 1 stars, 5 stars. We'll be back next week.
See you next week.